Hello, I'm Jeremy. That is SP3. This is FMC. After a 2-week hiatus with everything going on in my life, we are back. We are back to catch up on everything in the world of the NBA. SP3, I've said it many times. I'll say it again. Thank you for filling in on all the shows that you filled in for me on. I miss doing this show largely because my Denver Nuggets won the championship. But if you want me burying SP3, if you want SP3, if you want to see smoking on that SP3 pack because he didn't get to smoke on that Jokic pack. If you want to see us smoking on the SP3 pack, go back, watch In the Weeds from last Friday, the tail end of the show when we had SP3 on. I played a 2-minute clip where, man, you said some stuff, SP3. You said some stuff. Do you have a sermon? Do you have a Nugget sermon out here? Like, come on, praise Nicola.
Praise be Nicola. No, I do not. I'm not gonna do any sermons. The church is closed until October. Until October, we get back to the new season. Then we can have the church. The Laker morning church will be back in full effect. Don't worry. You just have a few months to go by. But yes, I am very glad to be back on FMC with Jeremy, my favorite person to talk about all this craziness, whether it's NBA, reality television, and all of that in between. And like we said before we went live here, there's a lot to discuss in the NBA. A lot. Like, I'm glad that you had me on In the Weeds so you can drag me a little bit for my awful Denver Nuggets take, so we can actually talk about all the stuff that has gone down since Game 5 of the NBA Finals, which is a lot in the NBA. They did not waste any time to get in the offseason started. Welcome, everyone. Good morning to everyone. Late Father's Day to everyone. Late Juneteenth to everyone. So, yes, it's a great morning here at FMC. So let's get into all the discussion. And yes, we are matching. I said that too before we went live. I was like, we're matching t-shirts. Matching. Got the matching t-shirts on. And Jeremy is frozen with the great facial right there.
Oh no.
No,
Working?
I think as soon as I said that, you're
Okay.
coming back into
Right.
form. You look pixelated right now, but you're coming back into form, coming back into the reality. He went into the multiverse, the Spider-Verse, however verse you want to say, Spider-Verse. Great movie, half a movie, but great movie. But yes, you seem to be coming in. You're Peter Parker. I'm Miles Morales. You're coming through. I think you're coming
Is it
through.
working? Is this okay?
You're still pixelated. You may
Oh
have to
boy.
jump out and then jump back in. I don't know. I can hold it down and be both of us for the time being. We do have Eddie in the chat who says, I want to ask you guys a question. Do you guys think CT is still in love with DM or and never move on? I think he is. I mean, that's the greatest romance in the challenge history is CT and DM. That is, I think the duel. That's another episode we need to do for FMC is ranking the challenge seasons. Ranking the challenge season. The duel is up there for me as far as top 10 challenge season because of the CT DM relationship. Plus, it was West's first championship. That's like two things. Two things that make that season close to my heart is the CT and DM romance when they first meet and fall in love, and then West winning his first championship. The duel. The duel one.
Am I okay?
You're back
Is
now. You're back
okay.
now.
Is it
That's why I
working?
ended my
All right.
my diatribe there.
Yeah, I don't know if CT's still in love with DM, but like that's a big heartbreak to get over like that and then try to move on. And it doesn't seem like he found the right person either, so that's not helpful. Like if you try to move on, you don't find the right person. Um, so it's tough, but CT's the GOAT, and the duel was a fantastic season. You go back and watch it. What? Okay,
Feels
hold
so
on. So
old. That was like 17 years ago. Feels so old.
the wife is messaging me, as she does, And
The
first off,
FMC anonymous general manager.
first off, she said what you were saying off air because we were talking about the NBA season and how the finals wrapped up last Monday, and then on Sunday we got a Bradley Beal trade, and we have rumors of a Damian Lillard trade. Draymond Green's opting out of his contract. We have the NBA draft in a couple of days, and I said
Zion Williamson is a porn star.
Yeah.
Zion Williamson is
Ja,
a porn. I repeat, Zion Williamson is a porn star.
Ja got suspended for 25 games. It doesn't stop. It doesn't. And I said part of that is that the games finish and then they're smart and that the draft is within a week of when the games finish. Had we gone to a game 7, which I think would have been Sunday, the draft would have been less than a week after that. So it's there is no downtime. And then you got free agency starting on July 1st, which is very soon, which is, the following Saturday. And you got all the rumors and stuff leading up to that. Once free agency starts, everything on the fallout to that. I'll never forgive Kevin Durant for ruining the 4th of July. Fuck Kevin Durant. But the wife messaged me and says, a lot to discuss because the NBA season never ends. If it ended, you wouldn't have as much to talk about. But then she says, are you guys saying the CTE romance? What is the CTE romance? I'm looking directly at my wife, who I know is watching. Baby, what is the CTE romance? Please explain that.
Love with the feeling of a concussion? I don't know. Is that the CTE?
Wrestlers might have that with the bumps I keep taking. Jeez. I'm gonna mute myself.
CTE romance. Hey, it could be. But yeah, can we just talk about, before we get into the 2023 NBA draft, can we talk about the 2019 NBA draft? If you want to have the definition of Americana, the downfall of the first 2 picks of the NBA draft in 2019, Zion Williamson, Ja Morant, it comes down to the 3 pillars of Americana: gun violence, obesity, and porn. The 3 pillars of Americana put down these 2 young men. These 2 young men, I remember 2019 NBA draft, they was like, oh, this is going to be the guys that is going to take us into the next generation of the NBA. Ja Morant, this young upstart, kind of part Allen Iverson, part Dwayne Wade, especially with how he plays on the court. Then you got Zion Williamson, probably the most hyped up prospect since LeBron James. And oh my goodness. I can't believe it. Obesity, gun violence, and porn. Mariah Mills, keep dragging this man. Mariah Mills, just keep mentioning this man, tagging him in her tweets. If you don't know, you should know. Go ahead and just put Mariah Mills in your Twitter account, in your Twitter search, not Google search. Don't do Google search because you get in trouble with your missus. Don't do
get in trouble on a Twitter search too at this point. None of it's good. But speaking of porn, Rob Wilkins is here. Hello, Rob Wilkins.
Mariah Mills, you can drag me all you want, please.
You go to the
number
infamous...
2 CTE, Karl Anthony Towns. Did you hear what this man said on Pat Beverly's podcast?
Unfortunately, yeah. He's changing the game, Rob. He's going to change the game.
Yeah, he's going to make the game change from Minneapolis to Seattle when A-Rod moves the team. This team, I can't stand it. I can't stand that he said this. I can't stand any of it. Yeah, I don't know what is wrong with the guy. He has CTE. That's all I had to say. That's it. Love you guys. And Mariah Mills, too. I love her.
Bye,
too.
Rob. You should tag her. She's,
Oh, I will. Bye.
CTE romance. There it is.
Yeah, Eddie James says Mariah Mills has threatened to release the tapes if Zion doesn't get traded out of New Orleans. I think this is my conspiracy theory hat on. He's using her to attempt to get out of New Orleans. This is his way to get out of New Orleans, is threaten to release these tapes unless they trade me out of New Orleans. So I think this is one big conspiracy, and this is how he gets out of New Orleans. That's my hot take on Zion
I
Williamson and
I
Mariah
wouldn't
Mills.
be surprised at this point. I think that he may get himself traded to Portland, which Portland I was like, okay, Portland is better than New Orleans. You don't have all the food there. But then I found out that Portland is the leader in strip clubs in America. It's the leading city in the amount of strip clubs that they
Did James
have.
Harden know this?
I think James Harden be like, I think I want to go there. I think I want to go there. I'll team up with Damian Lillard. Come on. But man, Mariah Mills. I didn't know that name as often as I do now after this whole diatribe with Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson, man, oh man. What happened, bro? Do you know the percentage of games he has played for New Orleans Hornets since getting drafted in 2019?
We're going back
New
in
Orleans,
time.
New Orleans Pelicans, excuse me. Man, you might as well beat the Hornets because he hasn't played for them.
I should have, first off, a couple of things. I feel like it's like maybe 21%. That even feels
36.
Oh, okay. I'd say 21 felt a little low, but it was also, I didn't feel too bad about it because I threw it out there. We should invite Professor Nick on, Pelicans apologist, Professor Nick, who first off accused me of trolling when I picked the Denver Nuggets to win the championship, trolled my way into a championship. So he was wrong. And this Pelicans mess, looking good for him. Maybe, I guess Zion gets traded at the draft or something. I'll reach out to Nick. We'll see if we get Nick on next week to talk Hornets and this whole ordeal they got on their hands, because I don't know if Zion gets traded. It seems like it's a possibility. Brandon Ingram might be a possibility because the Pelicans apparently want to move up to like 2 or 3 in the draft, and like you got to give up Zion or Ingram. In that, I was talking to my buddy Dustin. He's a Portland fan, and I asked him, would you trade the number 3 pick for Zion? And he said, yeah, like even though Zion can't stay healthy, like when he is healthy, you want to go after that guy. It's the best shot of keeping Dame, because Dame, I don't know what Dame wants to do. Every season, I feel like we do this dance with him of don't want to go, but if it happens. But then he feels less committal this year than he has in past years. And it's because I don't know if there's a path to victory for the Trailblazers right now, unless you do trade that number 3 pick and you get immediate help. And look, Zion is what he is right now when he can't stay healthy, but when he's on the floor, that's a great piece next to Dame. Can he stay healthy? I don't know. It's a good signal to Dame of like, we're trying to win. Look, sorry that this guy can't stay healthy, but like we're trying to win for you and everything. So I don't know what happens with Dame. There might be some movement at the draft. A lot of times with these drafts, we get a lot of these rumors and then nothing actually comes to fruition. That happens every single year with the draft, but there's certainly rumors out there for the number 2 pick, the number 3 pick, to see if there's going to be any trades of any team trying to move out of those spots or a team looking to move up from that spot. Let's talk about a trade we know happened, a trade that actually did happen. Bradley Beal for peanuts and pennies. And
oh my god!
Apologies to Chris Paul, but like they were gonna waive that man anyway. They were gonna buy him out. Whatever they were gonna do, they weren't keeping him around. Landry Shamet I don't know if he's gonna be on the Wizards. So basically, the Wizards got a couple second-round picks for Bradley Beal,
and pick swaps.
Which those are meaningless, honestly. Let's pick swaps unless things go completely sideways for the Suns, which they might. They honestly might. But like Durant's locked into a long-term contract. Beal's locked into a long-term contract. I think Booker has a decent contract on him as well. So like that team's going to be together for a little bit until things potentially just do go wrong, injuries. Still, the Wizards are going to be worse than the Suns. Those pick swaps aren't too meaningful. At least you
but
wouldn't
this might be the first time that the Wizards are not going to be better than the Suns, but the Suns They are not better. They're not better. They're basically the Nets of the West. They're the Nets of the West. It's basically the same big three that the Nets trotted out there with KD, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving, where you have three guys that need the ball, and it looks great on paper, but the whole issue with the Suns was not having a third scorer. It was depth. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Here's anytime you got a chance to get Bradley Beal for what they gave up, you're not going to find a lower price on Bradley Beal. I'm not going to begrudge the Suns of like, hey, don't make this trade because you don't need scoring. You need depth. No, make this trade. Get good players on your team. That's helpful. Yes, they do need depth. Do they trade DeAndre Ayton? They still have DeAndre Ayton. Let's be fair to them. The Nets did not have anybody of the caliber of DeAndre Ayton. I'm not super high on DeAndre Ayton, especially after this past season, but the Nets didn't have anybody of that caliber on their roster. So they still have DeAndre Ayton. Do they trade him and get depth pieces? You can probably trade Ayton and get serviceable players in return, whether it's, a couple of wings, if you want to roll with Biyombo and Jock Landale if you can re-sign one of them as your bigs.
Probably the best move they can make is trading DeAndre Ayton to the Pacers and getting Hield and Miles Turner. Because that trade has been
the Pacers. I'm not doing that.
No, if I'm the Pacers, no, but I mean that's the best deal that the Suns can get out there.
That's a great deal for Phoenix.
Yeah, that's a great deal for Phoenix, but I don't see any trade other than that would be beneficial to the Suns. I think the Suns are going to run into the same problem that they had this season. They have a lack of depth, and this is throwing dirt on Kevin Durant's legacy. And I know you're happy about this because this is now what, three different teams he has ruined. He leaves Oklahoma City, which downgrades them, and then he goes to ever since he left the Warriors, I've been asking the same question. Why? Like, I understand you and Draymond Green got into a whole disagreement and everything, but now Draymond Green loves you, had you on his podcast and everything. You telling me you could have worked it out on the same team? That absence made the heart grow fonder? I'm sorry, take an off season. That's absence. Absence make the heart grow fonder. Y'all could have worked it out and been back on that team. The only reason that y'all didn't three-peat is because you got injured. Why would you go to another team? Another team with Kyrie Irving? And I love Kyrie. Kyrie is family, but he's not the most reliable person in the world to go team up with in Brooklyn. Then you brought James Harden into the mix. Then you got Steve Nash fired. Then you bailed out of town left them with nothing, left them in ruins. The Brooklyn Nets, they'd be lucky to win 30 games next season. And then now what you're doing with Phoenix, where this new owner syndrome of just, I got to get my guy in here. I got to get my coach in here. Got to get my general manager. He is completely slowly deconstructing a team that was in the NBA Finals 2 years ago. People tend to forget that they were in the NBA Finals, Jeremy, 2 years ago. What are we doing?
They're deconstructing the team. They were in the finals 2 years ago, but 1 year ago, not this past season, 1 year ago, they got blown out by the Mavericks in a game 7 where they had a great regular season. I don't begrudge getting Kevin Durant when you have a chance to get Kevin Durant. I don't begrudge getting Bradley Beal, especially at the price that they got Bradley Beal for. I don't begrudge any of these moves. Is it conducive to winning a title in today's NBA? I don't know. And that's the thing that I think you really got to look at is look at the past champions. Look at the Denver Nuggets from this past season. This is why I picked the Denver Nuggets, mind you, is I like that they had a team that had been together for a little bit, that had battled through everything together, battled through some injuries, battled through some tough seasons, battled through media and coaches wanting to be fired and everything. And they stuck together. They added pieces on the peripheral, right? Aaron Gordon was a great trade for them. Turned out even better than I think they could have imagined because he really found that role. I love the pickups of Caldwell Pope and Bruce Brown coming into this season, and they played a big role in their playoff run. That's why I picked the Nuggets, because I liked how that team was together. It wasn't, a collective group of superstars. It was Jokic, 2 times MVP, Murray, some question marks, Porter Jr., good skill set, but also question marks defensively, and then just some good pieces around them, guys who filled roles. The season before that, Golden State, that's a team that had been together for a while, had won championships together. You got Steph, you had Clay, question marks with the injury, Draymond declining. They got some young guys on the team. How do they all fit? But it was still a team that had been together for a little bit. The Bucks, another team that just battled through some stuff together. But they added Drew Holiday, which was a great pickup in place of Eric Bledsoe. But Giannis and Middleton, and then even like Budenholzer, like they had some failures and everything together. The Lakers might be the exception here, because that was LeBron and Davis. That was the first season Davis was there, correct? Yeah. But they at least had LeBron, they had Davis, and they had the great role players around them as well. There was a hierarchy there, and I think that's the thing, is you need your 1 star, maybe 2, and then you need all your role players to fill in, and you need the hierarchy within all of that. You need guys who fill roles. And this Phoenix Suns team, the way they're building, the way really every Kevin Durant team has been built since the Golden State Warriors, because he joined a Warriors team that was already in place, and it's like, oh yeah, we're swapping out Harrison Barnes for Kevin Durant. I'm shocked this is working at this point. But you go to Brooklyn and you see how that team building went. You look at Phoenix, you see how this team building is going. It just doesn't seem the conducive way to build an NBA championship, to build an NBA a team at this point. Like, look how this is working for the Clippers. And Grant, the Clippers have like a lot of injuries and everything, but this is the point. When you have these injuries, and I actually think the Clippers had some depth, but they just had older guys who then got mad at what their roles, because now apparently Marcus Morris is mad at his role in with the Clippers and everything, because he's not getting enough shots, which I think I said that last year, like this was going to be an issue when Paul George and Kawhi come back. It's like, okay, now are these guys going to be happy taking a lesser role? And they're not right now. But you look at the Clippers of like loading up on the super. Look at even the Lakers when they traded for Westbrook, is like, oh, we're just going to get a bunch of great players and then sacrifice the depth. And then when were the Lakers good? When they traded Westbrook and got depth pieces who could fill certain roles in that place and just reestablished a hierarchy on that team. That's how you sort of build a championship at this point. Look at Miami. Miami's got one star player, Jimmy Butler, and he's inconsistent. And Bam is a very good player who does a lot of good things. I think at this point he might be underrated. Everybody else is just a guy who fills a role, but they do it really well. They do it within the structure of the team. That's why Miami is so successful. I just don't think loading up in this way is the way to win a championship anymore. And maybe the Suns just come out and they blitz everybody and it doesn't matter. And they score. Look, they're going to score points. I don't think there's any question about that. This team is 100% going to score points. They do have the chip of DeAndre to trade for depth, but you're one injury away. You're a Beal injury. You're a Kevin Durant injury, and Kevin Durant has some injury issues.
Not to be 35 years old.
Yeah, like Kevin Durant's got like you're a Kevin Durant injury from just being Booker, Beal, and DeAndre Ayton. And then not a whole lot around those three. Like, is that team good enough to like really win and sustain? Probably not.
Who's the point guard? Who's the point guard? Like
Booker.
Like
Booker
I know Booker is gonna have the ball majority of the time, but he's not a true point guard. The reason they got to the NBA Finals is because they had a true point guard to go along with Booker, who could score at will and create his own shot, and to go along with Ayton, who can be a force down low when things are working and cooking for him. Hasn't been cooking ever since he was about to walk out of Phoenix. It's just been downhill ever since then. Like, it just keeps on happening. It just keeps on going with these Kevin Durant teams. And he is just like, he is freaking another Across the Spider-Verse. He's an anomaly. He's an anomaly in the Spider-Verse. He went to a different dimension he wasn't supposed to be, and everything just shatters around him. Everything just shatters around him. He's not supposed to be here. He should still be in probably Golden State, and he would have won another championship. He would not have been leapfrogged by Stephen Curry. Some people would say he's been leapfrogged by Nikola Jokic as far as the all-time conversation as well. He's been leapfrogged by Giannis in the current conversation of who's the best player in the world. He's been leapfrogged by even someone that hasn't accomplished much. A lot of people think Joel Embiid is better than him now. Like, he has to put so much dirt on his legacy. It's just sad to see. It's sad to see. Kevin Durant was the guy that was the competition for LeBron James. He was the one that you used to argue that if LeBron James was the best player in the world, you used to say, nope, there's Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's right there. Kevin Durant should have won a few more MVPs. Kevin Durant can win a championship. And it just seems like so long ago that he has been that guy that can lead a team to a championship. He did it in Golden State, even though he came to an already made Golden State. He was the best player on the team, but it just, ever since he's left there, it's just his legacy and him has been falling down the ladder of success.
Good. He's a coward, and he ran in Oklahoma City. He ran to the Warriors, and then he got two meaningless rings because big deal. He joined a 73-win team and got 2 rings. They were winning those rings if they had Harrison Barnes. Okay?
No, they weren't.
Win those rings.
No, they weren't. Cavaliers is better than them if they have Harrison Barnes.
The second season after Kyrie bounced on Cleveland, no. That Cavs team
still
was terrible. That Cavs team, that was an all-time carry job by LeBron James to get that team to the finals after Kyrie had bounced.
Kyrie was there in 2017. I'm talking about the first season.
Yeah, I said the second season.
Oh, okay. Well, no, but I'm talking about it that first season with KD, Cavs would have beat them.
Maybe. Because the Cavs had won the previous season, and maybe the Warriors come back with a bigger chip on their shoulder, similar to the Spurs after the Spurs lost in the finals to the Heat, and they came back with that big chip on their shoulder and just destroyed Miami in the finals.
Well, they had the benefit is they had a very young Kawhi Leonard who had those key missed free throws, and that created the chip on his shoulder to become better. And then don't think
blowing a 3-1 lead is going to create a chip on the Warriors' shoulder? They didn't have to have a chip because they were just like, oh, here's Kevin Durant. We're good. Like, we don't need to really.
That was the chip. They developed the chip. The chip was named KD on their shoulder.
They didn't need a chip because it was just like, yeah, we got Kevin Durant. We don't really got to come back too strong out of this. We don't got to prove too much. Like, if things go wrong, here you go, Kevin. Just make a bunch of shots, which you couldn't do in OKC when it mattered. But I'm sure you can do it now.
That was
I think the Warriors. I think the Warriors, with that team, that mentality, knowing how they operate, I think they would have come back, and they would have been. They probably would have been back in the finals against that Cleveland team. That Cleveland team was just as good the year after they won the title because they returned most of everybody. And then, yeah, maybe who knows what we would have seen in the finals. We're never going to know because Kevin Durant ran. I think OKC would have been good that year had Durant stayed because that was a team that blew a 3-1 lead. I would assume they would hopefully have something to prove. That was a team that was going to add. Keep this in mind. This is what Kevin Durant ran from. This is what he left, by the way. This is why he's forever going to be a bitch who deserves no love and ruined 4th of July. That was a team that traded Ibaka for Victor Oladipo. Oladipo coming off a good season in Orlando, kind of a missing 6-man scorer that they needed. They were going to add Al Horford to that team as well. They were going to add a very good Al Horford coming off great seasons in Atlanta. That starting lineup was going to be Russell Westbrook, Andre Robertson, Kevin Durant, Al Horford, and Steven Adams, and Victor Oladipo coming off the bench. It's a very good basketball team that Kevin Durant left, and then left with like nothing.
He
Left
got 2
OKC with
championships.
very little.
He got 2 championships out of that one.
Left OKC with very little.
Hey, he got 2 championships. He came away nice. 2 championships, 2 NBA finals. It looks great on his resume. We fans that had to watch that and deal with that. Yes, it does not feel the same. It probably even feels cheaper than the Miami Heat championships to a lot of people. I think I rate them. I rate them basically the same. They're both super teams. They were both stacked up, and they probably shouldn't have won. They probably shouldn't have even had the chance to have those teams on the court. Talk about you talk about David Stern. David Stern. You stopped Chris Paul from being on the Lakers in 2011. You couldn't stop Kevin Durant from going to the Golden State Warriors. Couldn't stop LeBron James going to Miami Heat. What are we doing?
Pro Wrestling Podcast sends us a super chat or just money. Appreciate it. Everyone go check out the interview he did on In the Weeds yesterday. He joined and talked AW Collision, CM Punk, and all that. We're cutting that up. That'll be a singular interview, but you can just go back and watch it. I do apologize. I was really looking forward to chatting with the CM Punk Insider Pro Wrestling Podcast, and I had to run yesterday for an emergency. The wife doesn't. Oh, she had. I'll put out. She had a flat tire, and I had to go rescue her. She was a damsel in distress, and I had to go rescue her. Out in the parking lot. So I apologize that
he takes off the headphones. He rips off his shirt
yeah, and I pulled out my cell phone and called AAA. I was like, "What can we do here?"
I turned back on Indoweeds. I watched the beginning when you guys started the interview, and then I turned it back on after I was done recording something, and then Kate was on there. So I was like, "Oh man, Jeremy transformed into Kate. That's an upgrade."
Yeah. Really changed up my hair. My wife is coming. Do you want to say anything? Okay. All right. Yeah, she says I came and rescued her.
AAA man. He's AAA man.
She gets very shy when I try to put her voice on air. All right, Bradley Beal. He got traded. We'll see what it comes down for. I don't think the Suns are done. I think. All right. So here's my question to you: do we get a DeAndre Ayton trade? Do you think they actually make this deal before the season, or do you think they go into the season with Ayton, see kind of how it meshes, and then figure it out?
If I was them, I would honestly go into the season with Ayton, see how it figures out, because I don't think they're going to get the best trade possible with how he played in the playoffs last season, especially against the Denver Nuggets. I don't see them getting the best deal possible. I think if he comes out this season and he's playing for his next team, he's playing to be a nice little trade piece to go to a team that he can at least do something with, whether that's, score a lot of points, be a number 1, a number 2 option like he was previously. I think that if he comes out like that, the Suns can make a deal for him. But I honestly see the Suns making the trade and doing what they can before the season starts. I honestly do see that with how this new owner is dealing with things. I think they're going to make the trade early on and probably not get the value for DeAndre Ayton.
See, I don't know if he's going to have value if you start the season, because he's 4th on this chart here.
Yeah.
He's not going to get the touches. He was already complaining about his role. Now you have Bradley Beal, where at least when you had Chris Paul was very willing to set up other guys. Bradley Beal's out here to score. That's what he's there for. You're going to need Devin Booker to take a step back from scoring to set up other guys. But a guy he's going to be setting up is Bradley Beal. That's an extra score out there, along with Kevin Durant. I think Ayton's role is going to be reduced from where it was, and it was already pretty low. And he's just not a guy who I I think DeAndre Ayton is a fine player. I think on a like mediocre, bad team, he can be kind of like a 20-10 guy. But on this team, that's just he's not gonna be able to do that because he's just not gonna get the ball enough. That's just not his role on this team. So I don't think like he's actually going to increase his value as the season starts unless they make a real conscious effort. We got to get Ayton the ball. We got to get Ayton the ball. What is that? You ain't winning basketball games if your offense is flowing through DeAndre Ayton.
That's
when you
also
got Devin
true.
Booker, when you got Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal, like running through DeAndre Ayton ain't how you're going to win basketball games. So I think they should trade him now. If I'm Phoenix, I trade him now. Go ahead and get the depth pieces that I feel I need for this team, and then go into training camp with that. The longer you wait, the less time you have to gel everything together. I would rather go ahead, get the deal done, get the pieces I want into training camp, into preseason, into the start of the season. Because if you wait until December or January or further out, like the trade deadline, that just gives you less games to get everybody on the same page and get a cohesion that you need. And a lot of times, most of the times, that doesn't work out. The only times that's like, I feel like it's really worked out is a LeBron James team. And that's largely because you got LeBron James on that team anyway, because LeBron always is pushing his teams to make trades at the deadline and stuff. And obviously the Lakers completely shifted things at the deadline, and they got to the conference finals out of that. But most of the times when these teams make these deadline moves and stuff, it doesn't work out in that way because you have to try to come together in a very short period of time. And that's why the teams that like handle their business in the off season typically seem to fare a little bit better than the teams that handle their business at the trade deadline, unless you are just making like a little minor move to around the edges there. And then, then whatever, you're just adding a depth piece to hopefully solidify things instead of, hey, let's transform our entire roster with 20 games remaining and hope this works.
Hey, it can go one of two ways, just like the off-season moves. I think that waiting, you can find yourself with a team that's desperate. Like I always think about the Los Angeles Lakers in 2007, 2008, where we traded Kwame Brown for Paul Gasol. That happened in December. That didn't happen in the offseason. That happened in like December, January. We made that move. So that's why I said I think that they should see what they could do on the court with what they have and see. It's really about gelling these three guys together and seeing how you can work an offense with three guys that need the ball. We know Kevin Durant can work without the ball and still get his shots, but he still needs the ball to get those shots. So is Devin Booker going to be the facilitator that you need to run the offense? Is Bradley Beal going to be able to get his shots with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker on the floor? I think it's more important to gel as a team that way with these big three, and then you can find out what you need after you see them on the court. At the very least, I think they should play a couple of preseason games before they make that move. But I also agree that is a good thinking to, try to make the team gel ahead of time. I just don't see them getting the right value for DeAndre Ayton right now if they make that trade. I think that they're going to be the losers in that trade. And I don't think they're a really big winner in this trade anyway with Bradley Beal. I don't see it. Honestly, the winner of the Bradley Beal trade to the Phoenix Suns is the Brooklyn Nets, because the Phoenix Suns will not have Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal in like 2 or 3 years. So those Nets first rounders that they got from Phoenix are going to be looking mighty valuable by then.
Okay, Trey Jones says they should have traded Ayton for Beal because Ayton doesn't want to be there. You're saying the Suns aren't big winners in this deal. They got Bradley Beal for nothing. Okay, nothing. I don't think Bradley Beal is this great fit on Phoenix, by the way. I don't think Bradley Beal is what they needed. If they had the opportunity to go out there and get somebody else, then they should have. Who else are you getting for Chris Paul, who you were about to waive anyway, Landry Shamet, and some fake pick swaps and a bunch of second rounders. Who are you getting for this? You'd be lucky to get like Aaron Gordon for this type of trade. Okay? Like they not Aaron
Gordon would have been
Aaron Gordon
would have been a good pickup. And I agree with Trey. Yeah. I thought Beal should have went to Miami.
I think Miami was a much better fit. Yes, I agree with that. Much
100%. They need a scorer, and he's basically like a slightly upgraded Tyler Hero. And
they reportedly wouldn't have had to give up Hero in that deal anyway, because there's no trade clause. Just allow Beal to just go wherever he wanted for whatever he wanted. So yeah, I agree that Beal would have been a better fit, a better option for Miami and in Miami. Again, if I'm looking at this from a Phoenix Suns perspective, and I clearly do not care about how much money I'm paying, because they're going to be paying a lot of the luxury tax and all of this stuff. And I don't care about these long-term contracts, because clearly you can move off a lot of these contracts anyway. There's always going to be some team out there desperate to take these contracts, desperate to take these players and stuff. Russell Westbrook was supposed to have the most untradeable contract in the history of the league. OKC got first-round picks and Chris Paul back, a good Chris Paul still back for Russell Westbrook. Then he got traded to Washington. Then he got traded to Los Angeles. This man with this most untradeable contract ever has been traded 4 times, because LA traded him to Utah, and then Utah bought him. All these contracts are tradable. All these contracts look bad. They're all pretty tradable. So I'm not worried about the money and the contracts and stuff. I'm looking at it from a Phoenix perspective. If I have the chance to add Bradley Beal, one of the premier scorers in the league, and you're telling me all I'm giving up is a guy who cannot stay healthy in the playoffs, a guy who is also making a ton of money, who I was trying to waive so I didn't have to pay him that money, and Landry Shamet, who might be good for a couple threes a game, and a bunch of second-round picks for guys who knows if they're going to play, but I'm getting Bradley Beal, and I already have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. I'm a championship, trying to win a championship right now. I'm making that deal. You're not going to get anybody else for those. You're not going to get anybody close to that level caliber player for what they ended up giving up. And the point about Ayton is like, oh, they should have traded Ayton. No, you keep Ayton, because now, one, if you don't have to give him up, don't friggin' do it. Now they can flip him for valuable pieces as well. Yeah. Or you just keep him and you see how it works. They gave up nothing to get this guy.
I feel like this whole trade is very kind of dependent on what the DeAndre Ayton trade is. If the Deontay Ayton trade is good and they get 2 to 3 pieces that are very reliable rotation pieces, then yeah, the Bradley Beal trade, I agree with you. It's 100% in the positive for Phoenix, but it's really dependent on what they trade Ayton for, in my opinion.
I mean, it is, but even if you keep DeAndre Ayton and you see how that works, like, that's still fine. And then if you trade, you're going to get something for DeAndre Ayton, right? Like, here's the truth. I don't think in a realistic world, DeAndre Ayton for Bradley Beal is enough for Bradley Beal. I think that's a terrible trade for Washington in a realistic world. They didn't have to give up DeAndre Ayton in this deal. And you're telling me if Phoenix traded DeAndre Ayton for Bradley Beal, we'd probably be like, oh, that's a good trade for Phoenix. DeAndre Ayton doesn't want to be there. Sure, you add another scorer. Like, do you really need it? Maybe not. But, like, you're getting Bradley Beal. That's pretty good. You got to look at what they gave up on this. And they gave up nothing on this trade to get Beal. And now you can flip Ayton. And you're going to get, even if who knows what the return is going to be. The return, I would assume, could be wrong because we don't know. But the return, I would assume, is just going to be good pieces who fit around this team. You don't need a superstar return for DeAndre Ayton. Before, you kind of felt you needed like a strong piece there for DeAndre Ayton, because like
you just need a big man and a 3-and-D guy for Ayton right now.
You just need a couple of depth pieces there, and you're good. And that's what you get for DeAndre Ayton. And like, okay, that's a good win because you got Bradley Beal for nothing. This is a great trade for Phoenix. It might not work. I don't think the on the court.
I don't think it's gonna work. That's my thing. I don't think it's gonna work. And you're basically making the trade as championship or bust, and I think it's a bust.
But they were championship or bust anyway. When you have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker on your roster, you're looking to win a championship. And even you can throw in DeAndre Ayton. Like, you're already looking to win a championship. This boosts their odds of winning a championship. So I make this deal 100 times out of 100 times if I'm Phoenix. Now, Washington, this is where we got to talk about just, I understand their hands were tied because there's no trade clause and everything. Like, they were going to get what they were going to get. Phoenix wasn't going to give up anything more than they had to. Miami's offer was reportedly Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, a young player, and draft picks as well. That ain't much. I think it's a better deal than
you get at least they could have gave him a first rounder. Phoenix don't even have first rounders to give them. Like, I think that the only way that I agree with you in this whole thing is the fact that the Wizards did not win this trade. Like, that's what I said. Neither team won this trade because I feel like the trade is championship or bust. I don't see them winning a championship with Bradley Beal and this team as presently constructed. So I think it's a bust. But it's not to say the Wizard won this trade because they definitely did. They got a hot dog and a handshake for Bradley Beal. Like, it's ridiculous.
This is their own fault because one, they gave him this no trade clause, which there's a reason nobody else has ever gotten this. And there's a reason why nobody else is ever going to get this after this deal. But they should have dealt him the season prior instead of signing him to this new big contract and playing for 8th seed. They tried to build a team that was good enough to get into the play-in, and then they didn't even get into the play-in. And it's like, oh, maybe we should reverse course and actually tank. I told you this 1,000 times, SP3. I've told everybody this 1,000 times. If you listen to this show, you don't want to be mediocre. You do not want to be stuck in that mediocre area because there's nothing good that comes out of that. You don't want to pay millions of dollars. You don't want to pay luxury debt. They got Beal, Porzingis, Kyle Kuzma, all these guys. And what for 8th seed? They didn't even get that. They couldn't even get a play-in spot out of this. You don't want to pay all this money to just mediocre guys who aren't going to help you. You just don't. You don't want to pay. You don't want to be. You either want to build a championship roster and know you can potentially contend for a title, or you just want to blow it all up and start at the bottom and then just build a roster that can grow together. That's what you want. You want to pay Bradley Beal, who's 28, who's good. There's nothing wrong with Bradley Beal. Great scorer. Bradley Beal hadn't really accomplished all that much. You could have flipped Bradley Beal prior to last season before you gave him this contract, and you could have gotten probably a lottery pick out of that. Some team probably would have been willing to give you a lottery pick because even though Bradley Beal is not a good number one guy, he's probably not going to be a top guy on a championship team. Can Bradley Beal be the second best player on a championship team? If your first best player is like Giannis or something, sure. Like, Bradley Beal could be a good second player, assuming, depending on who the first best player is. Bradley Beal could be a strong second option, though. He can be a very strong third option, which, if he went to Miami, great fit there in Miami. Great fit. They maybe potentially could have traded Beal a season ago to Miami. They could have maybe gotten Hero in return. They certainly could have gotten more than the Lowry Robinson nonsense that was offered this year. But no, they held on
to the Lakers and gotten Austin Reeves before the Austin Reeves explosion happened. They could. Imagine you get a bomb before it goes off and you get to put it anywhere you want. Oh my God, they could have had him.
They could have. Instead, they held on to him, gave him this no trade clause, and they got him for pennies. As you said, hot dog and a handshake. The Wizards are a team, and now they're blowing up their roster a year after the Wembanyama sweepstakes, to where Now you're looking at a draft that just isn't as good as this year's draft.
Hey, they're gonna try to get the Bronny sweepstakes. They're gonna try to get in for the Bronny.
I mean, look, if that's gonna entice LeBron to come to Washington, then sure. But the Wizards are that was a poorly ran franchise right there. Just no other way to put it. They were a year late on trading Beal because they wanted to, and everyone knew just looking at that roster. Yeah, they might be a play-in team. Maybe they're a play-in team. That everyone knew looking at that roster that roster was simply not good enough. And you got to be honest with yourself sometimes. Just be like, you know what? It ain't worth it. It ain't worth being mediocre when we can instead try to execute a rebuild. This is what I know. People are like, oh, OKC tanked. Black eye for the franchise. Black eye for the NBA. That was a big talking point. Black eye for the NBA. OKC built it the right way. Now everybody's praising OKC because it's like, oh, you got all these draft picks?
You had Mad Dog saying y'all gonna be an NBA champion contender next year.
That's dumb, but I mean, appreciate it. I don't think that's happening at all. But like,
I think y'all 2 or 3 years away. 2 or 3 years away.
But everyone looks at OKC now. It's like, oh, this is probably a good way to build a team. Is trade all these guys, get these draft picks. Look, they hit on Shea, but they hit on Shea because they traded Paul George at peak value, and they needed to trade Paul George because Kawhi was going to the Clip. But this is the thing: they traded him at a peak value time, and that's how you get a guy like Shea. You don't wait a year to trade these guys. You trade them when you feel they are at a peak value, and that's what they did. And then they just loaded up on picks. They've hit on some picks: Giddey, Jalen Williams. They've hit on some of the Chet. We haven't even seen Chet, but they got not lucky, but like the lottery played out and they got the second overall pick to get Chet. Yeah. So they've hit on picks, which you obviously need, but you can't hit on picks if you don't have picks. And they got a ton of picks and they can continue. They just made a move. They made a move during the NBA finals with the Nuggets, which was hilarious. Of like, they traded their worst first round pick next season, which I didn't know you could do. Like, they got 4 first-round picks next season, and they're like, yeah, whatever pick is the worst, you can have that one. Apparently, this is a thing you can do. And they traded it to the Nuggets for, like, a first-round pick in, like, 2027 or something. It's like, sure. I don't know what this move is, but it's basically just stretching the asset down the road, which I'm for. But this is what you can do when you have all these draft picks. And everybody praises OKC now. It's because OKC was honest with their fan base as well, of just like, hey guys, I know everybody's used to playoffs and being a contender and all this stuff, but like, we got to take a different route here. We just don't have that luxury right now. Stick with us. Don't worry.
And they really took from the model of the Philadelphia 76ers with the trust the process, when they were honest with their fan base that trust the process. We're taking so we can build. We're tanking until we build a contender, and they've been a contender in the East, not a strong contender, but a contender nonetheless. And now we're going to see that with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think that the Wizards are just in a position where they really got to get rid of all these players and try to stack up on draft picks, and we'll see how that works for them. I'm very much interested in where Chris Paul is going to end up, and I saw your headline.
Lakers,
it's one of 2 teams. He's going to wind up in Los Angeles, and he's either going to go back to the Clippers or he's finally going to play for the Lakers. And I'm not, I know I've had my rivalry with Chris Paul, SP3 greater than CP3. And I know it says in the title, Chris Paul will hunt SP3.
He's going to.
I am okay. I am okay. I'm at the okay meter of if he winds up with the Lakers, because he now can fit that role that Rajon Rondo fit in 2020, where he could be the facilitator. He could take some ball handling responsibility away from LeBron James. LeBron James can focus more on scoring. Hopefully he's back and he's healthy this upcoming season after getting the foot surgery. I hope that he can also, work the pick and roll with Anthony Davis. And I hope also having a LeBron James there will take some of the ball responsibility from Chris Paul so he can avoid injury very late into the season. So I'm okay with that. Him going to the Clippers, I'm better. I feel better about that because I'm okay with him tanking and being Chris Paul choke P3 for the Clippers. It gives the Clippers another reason to choke, which they're very good at. They don't need another reason, but it would be awesome.
You're okay with it until Chris Paul actually signs with this team and he gets injured in the playoffs, or he just has a bad playoff game, and as you call him, choke P3, just can't get it done when it matters. You're okay with it until all of that happens. Just like you were okay with the Russell Westbrook trade of just like, oh yeah, it's fine. All the Lakers fans talk themselves into it's good. It's fine. It'll all work out. And you're actually a Chris Paul hater. I don't think you had disdain for Russell Westbrook like you have disdain.
I had disdain for LeBron James before he came.
You did, but let's be honest. LeBron James is LeBron James, and he was still coming off a run with the Cavs that was good. Chris Paul, the finals was 2 years ago, man. And these last 2 seasons ain't really 3 years ago, I guess, at this point. In these last 2 seasons, that game 7 against Dallas, the way he was playing against Denver was cooking them when Chris Paul was on the court. The only reason Phoenix got 2 games was because Devin Booker just had to make everything possible. When Chris Paul was on the court, they were cooking that man because he don't play defense like he used to. He doesn't play defense.
Hey, all I know is if we keep him, Austin Reeves, if we keep him and we keep Rui Hashimura and we can get Chris Paul on the veterans minimal exception, I'm fine. I'm fine with this. I'm okay with this. Maybe it can go up to, I feel really good about this. Maybe after like 20 games and things gel and things work out, maybe I'll feel better about this. But I'm just at the okay mark. And yes, that's why I'm at the okay mark, because it can very easily go into, trade this guy immediately. It can go right into that. I'm closer. Okay is like not even in the middle. It's on one side of the fence of this is a bad idea, and I'm just ready to jump off the fence and be on this is a bad idea. So that's why I'm at okay. I was directly on the fence with Russell Westbrook. I was like, this wasn't a good fit. I don't know what we're doing here, but let's see how it works out. And then I jumped off the fence onto the side that we should have never made this trade. We should have never listened to LeBron. Keep LeBron out of the GM room. Let Rob Pelinka do his thing. And when they did that, we made it to the conference finals. So I have faith in Rob Pelinka. If he thinks this is the best idea for us and it's not coming from LeBron James. And I saw everybody doing videos about Kyrie convincing LeBron to go to Dallas Mavericks. Like that was a real possibility. You know how fast that talk went away? That only lasted like a day. It lasted a day that people were saying that. I was like, why are we even doing talking points about this? This is not a realistic possibility. What are we doing?
Wait until Chris Paul actually signs with the Lakers, and then we'll gauge where you're at. SP3 once it becomes a reality. But I know you changed your headline to Chris Paul to the Clippers. Let me tell you, as excited as I would be about Chris Paul to the Lakers because it's a great troll move against you, do you know how much more excited I would be for a team of Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard? That's the team that I want right there. I don't like this would be a great team 5 years ago. It might be a good team nowadays. They couldn't stay healthy. Russ is going to be out there all alone, just playing with 4 guys he's never heard of. Me and you are going to be on that team. Honestly, me and you are going to be on that team with Russ.
It's going to be like one of those teams that Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain used to get 50 and 50 against, where you got factory workers, you got teachers on the court, you got the usher who's taking tickets. He's finished taking the tickets for the game. He takes off the usher jersey and he got a jersey on underneath. They're going to be getting guys like that for this team. Oh, yeah. Man.
I don't know who's going to be on that team if that's what they're rolling with. But Russ is a free agent. Maybe he comes back to the Clippers. I think he wants to stay in LA, and obviously the Clippers are the option. He ain't going back to the Lakers at that point. That's the team that I want, though. Just the sheer absurdity of that team. A Russell Westbrook Chris Paul duo is one of the things that will pop me forever. Of just like, we really need it, because their styles are just completely opposite ends of the spectrum, right? Like Chris Paul, the traditional point guard, tries to get others involved, tries to make the right play, plays very in control, plays at a very slow pace and everything. And Russell Westbrook plays completely out of control, tries to score first, will get others involved, like if the defense sucks in and kick it out and everything. Just a turnover machine. Just the justification of Westbrook and Paul. I want to see those two and how they work. And just when Russ has some terrible play down the stretch where he turns the ball over and Chris Paul is like, what are we doing here? Like, oh man, I want to see this so bad. This is what I'm rooting for more than I'm not rooting against you, SP3.
I don't believe you. You need more people. You need more people.
I'm rooting for the Clippers to get Chris Paul. I'm rooting for the Clippers to get Chris Paul over the Lakers. I'd be hilarious if the Clippers or the Lakers ended up with Chris Paul. It'd be hilarious if the Lakers ended up with Chris Paul. But I want him on the Clippers, assuming they bring back Westbrook. If they don't bring back Westbrook, I don't care. I don't care at that point. You got to have both of these on the same team.
Yeah, either or. This is not the best situation for either one of these teams, because LeBron has been on the court more than anyone on the two teams as far as star players. Anthony Davis is not the most reliable. He's probably going to miss 20 games or more next season, like he does every single season. And but even with that, AD and LeBron have probably played a lot more than Paul George and Kawhi Leonard have played with each other. So, hey, if the Clippers want to really go out of their way to get Chris Paul, they're gonna have three star players who are not on the court when it really matters the most. And Russell Westbrook can have his average a triple double in the playoffs next season.
Just sent our pal Louis the link here. He's going to join us for a little NBA draft talk. The draft is on Thursday. The Lakers have a first round pick. They've got a late first round pick, don't they? They trade that.
I believe so.
Right.
No, I believe we have a late first round pick this season.
All right. The Thunder have only one first round pick this season. They're just in. Yeah, well, they got 4. Well, I guess they have 3 now next season, because they traded the worst of the first round picks to the Nuggets for a first round pick in 2027 or whatever it was, whatever the deal was that they ended up completing to the Nuggets in the middle of the finals.
We're picking 17th, so okay. just 4 picks, 5 picks after your Oklahoma City Thunder at 12.
Yeah, the Thunder picking 12. This is one of the deeper drafts from everything that I've sort of read. At least it's better than next year. The draft next year is a little thin compared to this year. We know who's getting picked first. I think
it's like everything. It's like everything else after 1, because we all know that San Antonio won the Wembanyama sweepstakes, and Wembanyama is going to join the lore of Tim Duncan and David Robinson as big men picking number 1 for the San Antonio Spurs.
So we know he's going first, and then it just becomes, all right, then the intrigue starts, because you either have Scoot Henderson or Brandon Miller at 2, but also the Hornets might trade out of 2. I don't know what the Hornets are another team just building a mediocre roster. And even Michael Jordan was like, I'm tired of losing money in games, and I'm out of here. Let me sell for $3 billion. And, then I'll really make some money. But they pick it 2 if they do end up taking that pick. And then the Blazers, I think a lot of intrigue on the Blazers, because I think a lot of teams would be willing to come up to potentially get Henderson or Miller in this. But Louis is going to join us, and he is a draft expert. He sent me a very good write-up on Grady Dick, who is projected to be a lottery pick. And I was like, hey, do you want to just come on and talk? He's always in the chat as well.
Yeah.
Come on, we'll do some quick previews and everything and talk a little bit draft.
A great all-time hater.
That is what I am.
How you doing, Louis?
Doing all right. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us, man. Really appreciate it. Again, you sent me a great write-up on Grady Dick, and we always love the Dick jokes as well. And I was like, hey, man, just come on, join us, talk some draft, because I'm not going to lie to the people. I don't watch a lot of college basketball draft stuff. I don't really know what's going on with this stuff. I don't think the draft is SP3's expertise either. So it is helpful to have someone who actually pays attention to this stuff. So I guess my first question is, what are we looking at 2 or 3? And who do you think goes between Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller?
2 or 3, you're looking at Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson. Charlotte has LaMelo Ball. So I don't know how interested they are in getting Scoot, but they should be, because he is absolutely the second best player in this draft. I think they might go Miller, though. And I just don't know if you can trust Miller's off-court decision-making, because he's made some terrible decisions in his life recently. But as a basketball player, he's a pretty solid basketball player. But of the 3, statistically, not all 3 are going to hit. And if you were to choose one of the 3 to not hit, I would go with Brandon Miller.
Scoot seemed to be like the consensus number 2. And then is it largely just fit when it comes to the Hornets looking at Miller? Because by all accounts, it seems like Scoot Henderson's the better player over Brandon Miller.
Yeah, it will come down to fit. I just don't know if you want to take the ball out of LaMelo Ball's hand, because Scoot is absolutely going to be the driver of your offense. He's going to need the ball. He can play off ball because he is a good enough shooter, good enough penetrator, but I just don't think you want to ever take the ball out of Scoot's hands. He's just too good at compromising a defense and too good at generating offense.
Will says Hornets aren't in any position to worry about fit. They need talent, which is 100% true, because they don't have a lot of talented players on that roster right
True,
now.
but if you know the Hornets draft history, they're not the best at making decisions.
No, it's not good.
Also true.
It's not good at all. All right, what else are we looking at in the lottery? Who are some names that stand out to you and where they could end up going?
The 2 that I look most at of who could potentially be your all-NBA players, your all-stars, perennial, are the Thompson twins, Ausar and Amin Thompson. They're both 6'7", top 1% athletes in the world. Both of them are just defensive menaces, lockdown defenders, big rangy guys, could jump out the gym, basically just do it all defenders from day one. Amin is more an on-ball player. He was their lead guard as they've grown up. So Ausar is more the off-ball shooter. Well, not a shooter, because they're neither one of them can shoot. That's the big minus on both of them, is neither one's really a shooter. Both of them can score, though. A lot of driving, a lot of kicking. Both of them are really good at passing. Both of them can create. They make the right pass more often than not. Amin's obviously more developed as a lead ball creator, whereas Ausar is basically your stand in the corner, drive and get layups and dunk on everybody. Both of them are really, really solid players. They're both at overtime elite, so they skipped the high school route, and overtime elite's kind of like an academy. It is an accredited school, so you can go there and then go on to college, but they're basically preparing you to be an NBA player the entire time you're there. That's your whole day is spent working on becoming a professional basketball player. And so it's kind of a new setup that kind of scared away some kids who don't think that's the best route for them. But you can maintain your college eligibility if that's a route you choose, or you can go play in Europe, play in the NBA if you are that level of an talent.
Who do you think is going to get drafted first between the Thompson brothers?
I think Amon probably goes first. He's just got more experience as an all-ball creator. I think they're both going to be point guards eventually, but Amon is obviously more skilled and more experienced in that role right now, and I think offers more value to an offense.
I know the Thunder are at number 12, and a lot of talk around. I apologize if I said the name wrong. Beal Kolobi.
Oh, yes.
He played with Wembanyama in France for the Metropolitans, and apparently he's got a draft promise somewhere around the Raptors Thunder area, which the Raptors and the Thunder like to have kind of go with the international players. He seems to fit the Thunder profile. Is this a good pick if my Thunder end up taking him?
I think so. He was kind of a latecomer because not a lot of people saw him earlier this season. He wasn't really getting minutes because this is a professional league that they're playing in France. So it's not a bunch of young kids getting minutes, which is more impressive when you got Wembanyama and Bilal Coulibaly both being starters on a playoff team that went far in the French playoffs, and they're relying on two 19-year-olds to kind of lead that team, which I think is kind of help boost this draft stock.
Amani Bates. So this is a name we heard for many years coming out of high school. He's the most touted high school prospect since LeBron, and everybody was like, oh yeah, this draft, he's going to be the number one pick. He might not get drafted. What has happened with Amani Bates? And do you think any team takes a flyer on him in the second round?
I think Amani Bates is going to go probably early second round. He might sneak into the late first round, but there are big holes in his game. He doesn't really know how to play organized basketball. He's not much of a passer at all. He's kind of a black hole on offense. He doesn't have the best shot selection. He can make tough shots, but he shouldn't probably take tough shots. He's got the skill set to probably work better at finding good shots and just puts more work into getting bad shots. And he's just not an efficient player. I don't know how well he'll translate to an NBA offense.
Do you think a team
I do know a little bit about the Amani Bates downfall because there is a lot of videos of that on YouTube. Basically, Amani Bates is like if Jeff Hardy and John Morant had a baby. That's been his downfall, is his off the court, because he's been arrested. He went the whole wrong route. His parents didn't help him out as well, because he was on a good route when he was in high school, and then they took him out during his senior or junior year, and kind of tried to put him in the predecessor to what Louis was talking about, what they put the Thompson twins in, but it was solely unorganized. It hurt his eligibility as well, and kind of took back a lot of the colleges that were already looking at him. And then all of his off court stuff with getting arrested, dealing with guns and drugs, and it's like I said, Jeff Hardy meets John Morant off the court.
I thought Amani Bates was going next year because nobody was talking about him for this year. And then I looked it up. I was like, oh, he's in this year's draft. And I remember he was the big thing when OKC got all these draft picks. Everybody's like, oh, Amani Bates coming to OKC. And I mean, I guess it still could happen. They just won't have to use their lottery pick on him and get him with one of their second round picks. Grady Dick is a guy who potentially going in the lottery. It seems to be all over the board, honestly. It depends on who's out there, obviously at number 12, but as a shooter for OKC with a lot of their playmakers and stuff, I would very much like to have his shooting on this team. Where do you see Grady Dick going?
I think Grady Dick goes in the bottom half of the lottery, anywhere between honestly as high as 6 to Orlando, and I don't think he falls out of the lottery. The shooting's just too good. Um, he's probably the best shooter in this draft. Um, he's just too good at movement threes, relocating threes. He can attack a closeout with athleticism. Um, he's just a solid player who can fit on just about any offense in the league.
He needs to come to OKC. That's where we need him. We need this shooting. Where do you see? Well, we'll talk about SP3's Lakers. They got the 17th pick. Who do you see potentially going there, or does the Lakers try to move that pick?
If I was the Lakers, I would try and get a wing. There's a couple in this draft I really like. Jalen Hood-Schifino. I don't know if he'll be around there, but he's a 6'7" Penny Hardaway style point guard who can kind of get his shot wherever from Indiana. There's a couple of these Big Ten guys around. There's I can't think of his name. He's from Jed Howard from Michigan. Is kind of a similar, not as good of a creator, but a bigger wing who can kind of get his shot off and work well around LeBron and Davis.
I've been hearing more talk about Keontae George from Baylor. That's who I've been hearing that the Lakers are looking at. Keontae George and Nick Smith Jr. Those are the names that I've been hearing. But Jet Howard, I have seen him play. He reminds me a little bit of Mike Miller with the way he plays and can shoot the ball.
Yeah, I don't know if Keontae George will be there at 17. I see him going a little higher, end of the lottery again, maybe Toronto. What was the other one you said?
Who was it? Oh, Nick Smith Jr.
Oh, Nick Smith Jr. Yeah, he kind of fell in the draft a little bit. Probably the wrong college choice. He probably didn't go to the best fit for him, where he would be more the on-ball guard. We kind of shared those duties. But that would be someone the Lakers should probably take a good look at.
Who is a guy who a lot of people are high on, they think is probably a lottery pick, and you're just not completely sold on?
My choice would be Anthony Black. The shooting's just so poor. He shot like 28% on threes. I just don't know if that shooting will ever get to the point where it's functional in the NBA. But he's got everything else you would look for. But it's like that first year of Markelle Fultz where he just couldn't shoot and you couldn't really use him. He's just not a shooter at all.
I've seen him go like 6 in some mock drafts. Like some people,
He's pretty consensus a top 10 pick, but if anybody's going to bust for a specific reason, it'll probably be him because of shooting.
There you go. Look at this. When Anthony Black is a bust, we're going to look back on this tape and be like, our guy had it. Louis had it. He knew that Anthony Black was not going to work out. Trey asks, what team do you think could like fix Amani if he were to get drafted there?
Warriors.
I feel like that's a easy
consensus
pick, of the Warriors.
I think if he can make it the best use of his size, because he is 6'11", a shooter, not a great shooter, but he is a shooter with 6'11" skills, some fluidity to his athleticism. I think they could make the best use out of him.
What about Heat culture? The Heat can allegedly fix everybody, and you go there and you're just automatically the greatest player in the world.
I could see it. They could probably get the most out of him as an athlete, but I don't know if the ball movement of the Heat, and I just don't see the fit for him in a lot of places.
Jimmy Butler's gonna just immediately be over this guy at the moment.
He's gonna jump all over.
Yeah, just done with this dude the moment he takes one of these terrible shots or doesn't pass him the ball. What else? Anything else we need to discuss when it comes to the draft, Louis?
We could do more of a deep dive on Grady Dick if you want.
Jeremy,
We can talk
please.
about. I think my internet just cut. Am I here?
Yeah, you're here
Alright,
now.
I'm
I hear
here.
you.
Apologies. Yes. Sorry.
So-
We did
Well,
we
one
could go
one person.
deep dick.
Wow. One person that we haven't mentioned that a lot of people are saying is going to be a lottery pick. Cam Whitmore. Where do you think he's going to go in this lottery?
I think Cam Whitmore can slide a little bit. I know some projections have him in the top 5, top 6. I could see him falling a little bit. He's a big dude, about 6'6", 230, 240. Just a strong player. There's a couple of guys like that in the league who are doing pretty well. He's got a nice little offensive game. He can be a secondary creator, but he's not a creator. Get out of here.
Hey.
We always got
Say
people
hi.
running in on this show. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Always got
Migs.
kids going in. Hey.
Where does he
All
think
right.
Grady Dick's going to be drafted?
He's thinking OKC.
Oh, I would love Grady Dick in OKC. We need that shooting. We need it. We don't have enough shooters. OKC's probably just going to draft another great
Yeah.
athlete who can't shoot. That's their.
I think
that's
you'll
their
go
profile.
OKC at 12.
Oh, that'd be great. Would love it. He's going to end up in Utah. Utah loves their white players. He's going to end up in Utah. That's my prediction.
This is true. This is true. That's a good point.
All right, we're locking on to people who are longtime fans of just anything we do here at Fightful. Know that Sean and I did a draft watch along many years ago, back when we didn't even have like Overbooked or anything like that. We liked the NBA, so we wanted to do a draft watch along, and we stayed on that entire draft until Bol got selected, and Bol just became like our guy at Fightful. And then we still text each other jokes about Bol and stuff, who's like barely in the league at this point. But he'll have like a great like 15 game stretch where it looks like he's the best player in the world. And we're like, Bol, we told everybody. And then he doesn't play anymore.
If you wait 2 years, there's another Bull coming. John Bull. He's
let's go.
Another 7'3", unrelated to the other Bulls, but he's a 7'3" center with passing and shooting.
That's going to be our new guy.
So 2 seasons away, we've got John Bull.
The family of Bowls.
Yeah. For this draft, though, we've adopted Grady Dick as our child here on FMC, and we will be rooting for the success and living and dying on the success and failure of Grady Dick. We will watch what team he goes to in the draft on Thursday, and then we will continue to follow his career, and we will hype him up, or we will abandon him if he disappoints us. That is.
We're going Dick deep.
That's right.
Dig deep. Let's go, Dick. Let's go, Dick. Let's go, Dick.
I don't know if my kids are still watching this show. They're gonna be like, "What is happening?"
Hey, that's his last name. That's
It
his
is.
last name.
Yeah, we're not
What-
saying
what-
anything wrong. It's just his last
I'm
name.
not saying it. He got that G Dick.
Oh my gosh. They're gonna start repeating all of this, and the wife is gonna come back and be like, "What did you guys talk about on this show?" Like, baby, is gonna be drafted on Thursday. What do you want me to do? That's his name.
We're living and dying by the dick. Great stuff, Trey. Great stuff, Trey.
I'd make worse jokes if they weren't around. But I know the TV's on, so I don't want to make terrible jokes out here. Louis, thank you for joining us. Let everybody know where they can find you at, and we'll talk more draft after the draft with you. I don't know if we're gonna do a watch along on Thursday. We'll see kind of how I'm feeling about things, but potentially. We're living and dying by the dick, though, as SP3 said.
You can find me in the chat and Twitter.
Just in the chat.
That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. That is Louis. Yes, he will be in the chat. You can see him hating on your favorite team, most likely, and providing a lot of insight as well. I'm gonna send this to our pal Share Delaware. I don't know if we have reality television to like talk about. When is
Well, there's some challenge news. Think
Okay.
some challenge juice.
As you know, SP3, and as I assume a lot of our listeners and viewers know, like I've been very out of the loop on everything these past couple of weeks. Wife and I just got around to watching Temptation Island, which premiered the new season premiered on last Wednesday, and then The Big D, which was
Oh,
man,
boy.
that's a messy show. That's a messy show. SP3. That's gonna. You gotta watch that one. These are on Wednesdays on USA. I understand there's other stuff on Wednesdays, but you know that's what repeats and everything is for. But that's a messy show. The Big D. Temptation Island's gonna be messy this season too because they introduced this new thing where like a light goes off when like there's a hookup in the opposite villa, so like they can see if like their significant other is like cheating like in real time, but they don't know which one it is. So like, you know, it's 4 women, 4 men. They're in opposite villas with all the temptresses and everything. And they can see when the light goes off, it's like, oh, which man or woman's cheating over here. So these
Everybody
are some
paranoid.
messy shows.
Everybody paranoid.
These are some messy shows out there. That's Wednesdays on USA. I listen to, does Christian Cage have, this would be a question for our pal Cher Delaware, who knows everything about everybody. Christian Cage revealed that he watches The Ultimatum, and I want Christian Cage show just to talk about The Ultimatum. I don't care about this wrestling stuff. Don't care about that at all. Who cares? I want to talk Ultimatum with Christian Cage. I feel like that'd be fantastic.
Come on, let's do it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's be about it. Come on, Christian. Great all-time wrestler, and we're going to talk about nothing about wrestling at all. We want to talk about The Ultimatum.
That's the point of this show, this is what we should do. You know, we've had challenge people. We've interviewed challenge people on this show. Our next, like, you know, technically this is a wrestling channel. Allegedly, this is a wrestling channel.
Trey, I'm already up on that. I'm already up on that. Love
SP3.
After Lockup is one of the greatest of all time messy reality shows. Like it's an all time. Like I would put it up there. I don't even know what season to put up there, but it's in the pantheon of messy reality shows. It's up there with Jersey Shore season 2 in Miami when Ronnie was motorboating dancers and stuff and the Note and all that great stuff. It's in the pantheon of all-time messy reality shows. And look, Cher Delaware is here. Hey, Cher.
Yeah.
Been so long. How are you?
I am doing all right. How are you guys?
I'm happy you are here, Cher Delaware. That's how I'm doing. I told SP3 this at the start. We haven't done the show for a few weeks, and I'm happy to see both of you. I've run in on shows that SP3 has been on, but I've not, like, it's been forever since I've talked to you on the air, Cher Delaware. So I'm happy you are here. And we were just talking. One, SP3 was talking about Love After Lockdown, which I got to get on this at some point, but again, it's been a few weeks here, and I just haven't been able to watch anything. But we were also talking. I found out, and I shared with the audience that Christian Cage is a fan of The Ultimatum, and so what I was pitching basically is, you know, we've interviewed reality people on this show, and I think we can kind of continue to do that on the show. But what we also need to do is just like interview wrestlers about non-wrestling stuff, about these messy reality television shows and sports. Like there's so many basketball fans that are wrestlers and everything. You know, there's a lot of wrestlers, also hockey fans and everything. We have them talk hockey, basketball, and then these reality television because they secretly like this stuff too.
Oh yeah.
The fact that Christian likes The Ultimatum and is watching The Ultimatum, I guarantee that like these wrestlers, they watch these trashy reality shows as well. And I want to talk to wrestlers about just terrible reality television on this show. So that's a goal for 2023.
Like when you're sitting in a hotel room, you have no other option. You're going to watch TV. just what it is.
So I want to start interviewing wrestlers on this show and get their reality television takes for us. Deanna can join us and talk the challenge.
Yeah, and we'll just tell them like we don't want to hear about wrestling. We don't.
We won't get the interviews through companies. We definitely won't get it through Impact. If we don't talk about Impact, that won't happen at all. We'll get yelled at. Like, what do you mean?
Sorry, we don't want to talk about that.
Yeah,
she can plug Impact at the end, but yeah, we're talking about the challenge here.
We'd have to like word it in a way of like, who do you think would do well on the challenge?
Oh yeah.
Who do you think would make an impact in the challenge?
Team Impact on the challenge. Who would be on it?
What season of the challenge had the biggest impact on you and your viewing habits?
I love it.
Yeah, Leo Rush was on the challenge. We should get Leo on to talk.
Get Leo.
Talk too much challenge.
But... And I wish that he could have stayed longer too, because I think he did really well.
Yeah. Luchasaurus was on Big Brother. I don't know if he wants to talk about that experience because I don't think that went too well for him.
You get Kenny King to talk about The Bachelor.
Who's that? Talk about The Bachelor?
Kenny King.
Oh yeah. There's another wrestler who's on like NXT or Level Up or whatever.
Yeah.
That's going to be on this upcoming season of The Bachelor.
But this upcoming season of the challenge, I'm actually looking forward to, guys.
When's this premiere?
I believe it's either the end of this year or beginning of next year, because you still have to do USA. I don't know when All Stars 4 is coming out. They keep delaying it, and I keep having conversations with Tina about it. Like, why they trying to hold you down? Why they trying to hold you down? Why they don't give us what we want? But yes, this 39 is gonna be. It's called a redemption season, where it's all non-champions. All non-champions of the challenge on season 39, and the cast is, I believe the cast just went out for the season. So I don't know if this is going to be like Invasion of the Champions, where they're going to have the non-champions to start out and then some champions are going to sprinkle in. But right now the cast is Berna from Spies, Lies, and Allies. That was the one that hooked up with Nelson and was in the love triangle with Ashley. Colleen from last season, Ride or Die. That was the two blondes that were together. I thought they were like Swiss or something, but I'm probably wrong. You got Jessica from the Challenge Australia. I don't know how she was memorable. I don't
start bringing these other countries in. I'm off.
They already started. There's a few of these on here. Melissa's back. Melissa from Vendettas and Final Reckoning. Last time she was on the show, she was actually pregnant on the show.
Yeah.
So
she has like the most beautiful baby in the world. Her baby is gorgeous.
Even though she doesn't have the best choice in men, because she did hook up with bananas once. Michelle from Spies, Lies, and Allies and Ride or Dies, who she's slowly but surely becoming one of the faces of the challenge, because she was literally on USA. She got home, went to a Taylor Swift concert, and then immediately went out to film this one, to film 39. You got Mariah from Ride or Dies, who doesn't have the anchor on her ankle named Fessy this season. One of the MVP rookies of last season, Norris, is back, getting the drama. We got some drama with Norris. Norris is back. The real MVP of last season, as far as the rookies, Olivia's back from Ride or Dies. You got Raven, who was the rival of Norris in the love triangle with Johnny from Ride or Dies, is on this season. Hui, who was on the Challenge Australia and the World Championship. That was the partner with Nelson, where they did awful against Tristan and Kellyanne in World Championships. Big T is back, baby. Big T.
Oh,
nice. Big T, let's go. Zara from the Challenge UK and World Championships. She was Wes's partner in World Championships. She's back. Oh my God. One of the guys who's been on so many reality shows, you don't even know where to start. Asaf is back. He was on the same Are You the One season as Tori and he was on Total
Oh,
Madness,
okay.
where he was only there for one night and still hooked up with Nani. You got Callum from the Challenge UK. He was also on X on the Beach.
Yeah.
He's on the show.
I remember.
him. Yeah.
The best daddy on the challenge, Chauncey, is here. Chauncey from Ride or Dies is going to be on the show. He watched his baby be born, and then he had to get on a flight. He was out. He was like, I gotta get on the flight, make this money, baby. Kieran from the Challenge Australia, he's on there. Corey from Spies, Lies, and Allies, he's on there. Ed from the Circle and Spies, Lies, and Allies, he's back.
Not Ed.
Yes,
oh,
Ed.
Boy.
Then we still don't know if he's a vampire or not. Emmanuel from Spies, Lies, and Allies, he's on the show, so don't know how well he's going to do without, one of his hookups dragging him along. But we'll see. The other MVP of Ride or Dies, Horacio, is back. He's going to be on the season. Hui from Spies, Lies, and Allies. Kyland from the Big Brother and the Challenge USA, he's going to be on the season. James Locke from the Challenge UK, he's on the season. And Jay from Total Madness, Double Agents, Ride or Dies, he's going to be on the season as well.
Yeah, they're definitely going to end up bringing in some mercenaries or something.
Oh, yeah, probably.
No names on there.
Yeah, no, none of the challenge staples is on that season. If anything, if you're gonna pick a non-champion, you gotta get Paulie. Gotta get Paulie on there.
Not have Josh and Fessy on there.
And Nani?
Oh, hell no! Please.
I know.
We
know they ain't ever won nothing.
Yeah, but Nani couldn't make it. This would be her season, like to finally win something. Bunch of non-champions in there.
If she still didn't win this with a bunch of who had never won, that's why she turned it down.
She's like, I don't want to embarrass myself.
Yeah, I think people would just like feel bad for her. Like, oh, let's just get her to the finals, like, or they might target her immediately. Be like, no, you're not gonna win this season. Yeah, yeah, they don't have really any like name that's done multiple seasons and that you really like. Oh yeah, I know this person.
Yeah,
really well and everything. So yeah, I agree. They're probably gonna bring in like some mercenaries or some type of twist in there to get some names,
and Fessy and Josh. That's probably
that would be awful.
Please don't.
That, you know what? Like, look, this isn't the best way in the world, but I could see this being like they do bring in mercenaries still who haven't won anything, but are more of names, and then they get to take the spot if they beat them. In like
they did in Final Reckoning.
Yeah.
Final Reckoning, they did that.
Yeah. I could see them doing
something. Get Amanda in there. Give me Amanda. Give me Corey. Give me those.
Corey
give me Nelson.
Nelson, there we go.
Nelson and Corey. Nelson and the only young buck that ever won was Hunter.
Walk.
And he didn't even win money.
Yeah, Hunter didn't even win money.
Yeah. A break. He can barely walk.
Nah, get him in there. Don't care. Nelly T, the return, the redemption. It's gonna happen. I don't know why I thought Corey had like won something when it just feels like a lot of these people who have been around for so long, I feel like they won like a team thing. I'm sure. No. I'm sure of it. And then they didn't. Hi, kid.
You say hi? That's Jeremy. You remember we went to his wedding?
I was trying to powerbomb you through a table one night.
I have no clue who these people are.
It's like, I'm out.
Yeah, fair.
Don't make me have to twerk in your face. No, we're not twerking in anybody's face.
Threatening to twerk. Oh my god.
Let me tell you.
I'll twerk with them. Let's all just twerk.
You two probably would look about the same twerking.
Yeah, just scrawny white kids with no butt trying to twerk.
He looks like Tina from Bob's Burgers.
The best twerking right there.
It's
Tina
exactly
from Bob's Burgers.
That's about how I look when I twerk. Yeah, I definitely do it very often. So.
I love
Oh, anything else we need to talk about? We've gone through the challenge. Share Delaware, you watching any trashy television?
I'm not watching any TV at all right now, actually.
Smart. Watching the wrestling. I saw you were, and I know we don't talk wrestling, but I saw you went to Chicago for Phil's return.
Yes, we got to see Phil Lindsay. We were very excited.
That's the return I was talking about.
Yeah, Chicago
Yeah.
Phil.
Yes.
That was my kid's first time in Chicago. They were not fans of traffic. When it took us 80 minutes to go about 13 miles.
Sounds about right.
Here it takes about 10 minutes to go 13 miles. So they were not fans of that. We had baseball practice Saturday morning, left baseball practice, and immediately drove to Chicago. Reed slept 4 hours on the way
Oh
to
boy.
Chicago. And then we did all that. The Hilton lost my car. So the hotel is like in the airport. Like it is in the middle of all the stuff at the airport. So there is no self-park. You have to use valet. So we waited for Mr. Will Washington so that we could go back to the hotel because he was staying the same place we were. So it was like 1 by the time we got back. And I stood there and waited for like 10 minutes for the valet to come out there because he was smoking. So he finally comes and goes and parks my car and doesn't write down where he parked it on the ticket. So when we went to leave the next morning, the valet couldn't find it. And the guy was literally running around trying to find my car. And we're just standing there holding all of our stuff because I don't have benches or anything. So we're just standing there. I'm like, well, this is fun. And then we drove home. And then yesterday we got up and went to an amusement park.
Nice.
So we went and it rained pretty much the whole day, but that meant there was like nobody there. So we had fun.
good.
And then came home and had a baseball game last night. We never
Wow.
stopped.
The busy life of Share Delaware, and you're making stickers. You're doing tachytherapy for everybody.
I got
There you
2
go.
that I just.
I'm gonna show him the trick.
No, we're not showing anybody how to twerk. You don't even have clothes on. You are in underwear right now. Please get away.
What is this, dude?
Okay, well that's put Kramer back over there.
Kramer's a weirdo.
Kramer is a weirdo.
He is a weirdo.
Yeah.
Swear.
I just see your son in underwear just behind you, just chilling. Oh, there he is. Oh, he's trying. He realizes where the camera is. There he goes. Yeah.
There he goes.
Kirk can do it, so you can go away. Look at me. Go. Get away.
Yo. I'm done.
All day long.
He said this is what she has to deal with all day long. Yeah.
Yeah.
The life.
Bless. Kids, man.
Too blessed to be
Kids.
stressed.
Kids. What are you gonna do?
Oh my god.
Oh, I love it. That was great.
The one I tweeted this last night. The one is learned how to Eddie Guerrero me, and it's so they'll have like a, let's just say like crackers or like a water bottle or something. I'm just like, hey, yeah, let's do. What are we doing?
Oh, he's got to
Is
do
that the whip or the
No,
You
nay-nay?
got me whip.
doing the
Watch me nay nay. Watch
I don't
me
know
whip.
any of these dances
whip.
anymore.
Watch me nay nay.
It's like that. That's a Dougie, right?
Is that from Fortnite?
Yeah.
Teach me how to Dougie. Teach
Fortnite.
me how to Dougie.
Loser dance.
Oh,
So
the loser dance.
Mm.
yeah.
Okay.
He's
Is
telling
that
you.
how that goes? He's
Yeah.
twerking again.
I'm not.
So the one they'll have like, oh, the other one's on the other side of you.
Hey, get away.
Does he twerk as well? They both twerk.
They're all hogging the camera.
Yeah. I think the oldest is on the other side.
Yeah, he's sitting over there writing down what wrestlers he wants me to buy for him.
Oh, okay. Does he want to twerk? Do we all just can twerk?
He doesn't twerk. He is on
Oh.
what's that website? Ringside Collectibles, writing down how much I
Oh,
spend for him.
yeah.
Get
They
away.
got a lot of stuff on there. Put him in a cravat.
We're trying to do this.
I'll do
Put him
it.
in a put him in a cravat.
Dude, it doesn't matter. Kramer didn't have clothes.
I don't care.
What?
Continue your story.
So we'll have like a water bottle or like crackers or whatever. Like, hey, can I use this? And then they'll hand it to me. I'll take it. I'll bop him on the head, and then I'll run off to the wife. Like, oh, Jeremy hit me. It's very funny. So last night they got this Barbie scarf. It's just like little whatever. It doesn't hurt or anything. And like hit me with it, and I just put my hand out for it. And so she places it in my hand, and she's like, "Oh, here." And then she looks at me, and she runs off to the wife, and she's like, "Jeremy just hit me with the scarf. Jeremy hit me." Oh. Like, I didn't do anything. She put the weapon in my hand and ran off and said she got hit with it. She completely Eddie Guerrero'd me. Just 100% Eddie Guerrero'd me on this. Like, I did not actually hit the child with the Barbie scarf on this. My history would say that yes, I was going to bop her with it. But in this instant, I did not. And she just doesn't matter. Told on me. It gets so much sympathy too. It's embarrassing.
Is it
Lovely.
a one?
Oh yeah, you know which one it is. Yeah. Just everything around the finger. Yeah. You can see it. You can see it.
I actually just watched the Jersey Shore season 7 trailer with Sammy, and it looks like she's going to be causing a lot of drama, apparently, because she hasn't liked how they've been talking about her since she left. I love Paulie. Paulie said, "Are you a hologram?" He was like, "This can't be real." And it's funny because I was wondering, I thought the whole reason she was coming back is because Ron was away, but apparently Ron's in the season and he's trying to get back on the show.
Oh, good. Let this be the messiest nonsense ever.
Let it go. We need it.
We need it. We need the messiness. I'm for it.
We need Ron and Sam in the same room 12, 13 years later.
So I need Ron to get off of steroids.
Well.
Hey, let's just work on, alcohol and drugs first, and
let him do what he wants. It's honestly like it's a better. He's more fueled on that kind of stuff, and it makes for better television.
If you do for life.
I agree.
I don't know.
I don't either. I just agree.
It's a do for life.
Okay, I told you to be quiet.
All right. Anything else before we need to wrap up here? We're almost at 2 hours on this show, but whatever. We got.
Hey, we had to come back with a long episode after being away for 2 weeks.
We did.
The people need Jeremy and Cher to start watching Love After Lockup. Love After Lockup, Life After Lockup. It's great stuff. It's great television.
I have
actual fights.
I probably have 100 episodes of shows on my DVR right now watched because I don't ever watch TV.
I'll watch them. I'll tell you all about it.
All right. We're gonna do plugs and then we're gonna get out of here with the smaller one and myself. We're gonna twerk our way out of here. I'm gonna twerk for everybody. All right, this is my big return to FMC, just twerking. Why not? Right? Who cares? Nobody watches this show. I can embarrass myself. He's excited. He's excited. Let's go. All right, Cher, do you have anything to plug?
Therapy.
I want to show you.
That's
All
what.
kinds. Yeah. Everyone go to
Plugging therapy.
tachytherapy.com. Order some stickers. I ordered a couple Taylor Swift stickers for the children, so they're very excited to pick those out. SP3, do you have anything to plug?
You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. You can go over to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. Did a collision review on Sunday, collision course with me, sober guy JJ, and Romeo. Got the True Hill Heat flagship podcast. Got a whole bunch of reviews and stuff like that, and a new interview dropping.
It's sober JJ now. I thought it was drunk.
Yeah, now he's sober. Now he's sober. He said
He's
he's
sober
sober, but he showed up an hour late. He was hungover, guy JJ, on Sunday because it was Father's Day.
Okay, well,
He showed up on ultra CP time, an hour late. Thankfully, Romeo was there with me
well,
to
I
hold
mean,
it down.
if he was hungover. He wasn't drunk, though.
This is true. That's true. Hungover guy JJ he was on Sunday, but yes, we're gonna be doing the reviews of AEW Collision on Sundays now, so it'll be me and sober, hungover, drunk guy JJ, whatever guy JJ he decides to be that day, will be on there on Sunday, and a new interview with Eddie Edwards dropping probably tomorrow.
Nice. All right, let him get his screen time.
All right.
This is not gonna go. All right, we're gonna twerk. You ready?
Up. You can't.
This is how. All right, my screen. I don't have, but I get my non-butt in there. Back it up. Breaking everything. The monitor fell.
What happened?
Like Sean Ross Sapp with the monitor falling.
What just happened?
Everything's okay. Nothing's broken. I backed the ass up too much.
Yo!
Why'd you drop the phone?
Flip it. Do whatever you need to do. We're back, baby. FMC's back. Bye, everybody.